don't start a business until you watch this video. I'm telling you, please don't start a business just yet. I don't want to see your businesses struggling to make any money, or even worse, losing money or getting into huge amounts of debt. Hey guys, my name is Naomi. Welcome back to my channel. Today, I'm going to talk about how to choose a business, the golden rules for choosing a business. If you're an aspiring entrepreneur, you've probably seen many YouTube videos about how to start a business. You'll see lots of advice, such as making a business plan or focusing on improving your current business before jumping onto another business, right? These are great pieces of advice. But have you ever wondered why some businesses seem to be able to grow at a healthy pace from the start and even make money relatively fast, while other businesses just struggle to break even or end up losing money? Well, the underlying reason is that you choose the wrong business to begin with. You choose a business to start that's not right for you. So, in this video, I'm going to share some hard truths and golden rules that you may not have heard much about. This way, you can maximize your chance of success, especially if you're a beginner entrepreneur. Okay, let's get right into it. The first golden rule is low startup costs. If you're a beginner entrepreneur with limited capital, for example, if you don't have rich parents, or if you're young and have little money, choose a business with lower startup costs. This might sound obvious, but you know what? I see young people every single day, ambitious young entrepreneurs who just throw all their savings into starting a business that requires so much upfront capital. For example, starting a restaurant, a cafe, a boba shop, or a franchise. Do you know how expensive it is to start that kind of business and how many of them struggle just to break even? In terms of the amount of upfront capital required for a business, we can categorize it into two types of business models, the J-curve business model and the less or non-J-curve business model. In the J-curve business model, it's like the letter J, right? Which means you go down before you can go up. This type of business requires a substantial amount of capital initially, and you might even lose money before you see your business grow. You might eventually break even, but not until later to start making profits. Some examples of a J-curve business include the ones I mentioned earlier, physical stores like restaurants and boba shops, as well as venture-backed tech companies. The less or non-J-curve business model, on the other hand, doesn't require much upfront capital, and it's possible to start making money right away. Note that I'm saying less J-curve model as well, instead of just non-J-curve, right? Because the amount of upfront capital needed across different businesses is a spectrum. It's not just a black and white dichotomy. Some examples of a less or non-J-curve business include content creation, such as YouTube, podcasts, email newsletters, as well as businesses like consulting, coaching, and various types of agencies, like a social media marketing agency, SMMA, or an AI agency. You guys might have heard about AAA, AI Automation Agency, which has become quite popular these days. Based on the examples I gave you for a less or non-J-curve business, like content creation, consulting, agencies, etc., you can see that essentially these are the types of businesses where you sell your knowledge and skills as a service, right? That's exactly why these businesses don't require a significant amount of upfront capital. Like, you can literally start creating content or finding clients to sell your service right away. Of course, you might still need to spend some money in order to create good content or start an agency, such as investing in a camera or buying some courses to learn. But these expenses can be affordable depending on your budget. There are not insanely high amount of capital, like hundreds of thousands of dollars, right? So I'm telling you, start with what you can afford to lose. Everybody is different and comes from different backgrounds. I mentioned that VC-backed tech companies are J-curve businesses, right? But I'm not saying that you should never start one as your first business. In fact, as a software engineer based in Silicon Valley myself, I see people around me every day who are either in college or have just graduated starting tech startups backed by VCs, such as the famous Y Combinator, YC. And they become quite successful later on. Apparently, software and tech companies have the potential to become extremely lucrative in the long term because of their digital nature and high scalability. Like, just look at every app, software, or piece of tech you use in every moment of your life. They are used by billions of people worldwide and are worth the billions and billions of dollars. Just saying, for example, if you don't have a technical background, the money or the position, say you're not in a position to easily secure business loans or find investors, or maybe you just want to start making money faster, then you better not force yourself into the unnecessary struggle of starting a J-curve business as your first business. Not everyone can easily take out a business loan or find investors willing to invest millions of dollars into their company, right? So, don't choose a business that has a high cost or has high entry barriers for you. It will only make your life very difficult. That's why you see many successful entrepreneurs online starting their businesses on YouTube. They start by making YouTube videos, generating revenue from Google AdSense, sponsorships, and affiliate marketing. Then at one point, they start selling their own products or services, such as online courses or coaching. Some of the biggest YouTube entrepreneurs are agency owners like Iman Ghazi, who ran a very successful social media marketing agency from a very young age. For most of them, their online courses, coaching, or agency business later becomes their primary source of income, and the initial income sources like AdSense, sponsorships, and affiliates become less important. So, if you're just starting your entrepreneurship journey and don't have a lot of capital and resources, remember to choose a business with a lower startup cost and entry barriers. Later down the road, after you have accumulated wealth and gained more experiences and connections, you can then decide to start a business that requires higher costs, as you will be more able to afford that higher risk. For example, someone like Iman has come a long way and has accumulated multi-millions of net worth from his agency in the past few years. Now he has the money, the resources, and the teams to start an even more advanced, expensive, and difficult business. For example, currently he's focusing on a large software company for agencies. The second golden rule is having little or no inventory. Frankly, when your business involves managing inventory, the overall complexity just increases exponentially. How? First, you find yourself responsible for all the costs associated with inventory management. For example, there are costs to hire people to handle the inventory, and there are shipping costs, packaging costs, return handling costs, warehouse storage fees, and so much more. Second, you need a solid inventory management plan. You have to constantly manage your inventory, like restocking when quantities are low and disposing of unsold and expiring stock in a timely manner. Speaking of unsold stock, there's even the cost of waste disposal. If your products aren't selling and they become expired, you have to dispose of them, right? Let's take Amazon FBA as an example. Although Amazon helps with shipping and warehousing, as an Amazon seller, you are responsible for managing your inventory. You have to forecast the number of sales and place orders in advance. However, let's say, for example, if your Amazon store suddenly gets banned or suspended, or if your products receive negative reviews and don't sell anymore, your products become worthless. But at that point, the products are already with Amazon in their overseas warehouses, and you won't get them back. Amazon can help you dispose of them, but they charge a disposal fee. If you have thousands of products piled up in the Amazon warehouse, disposing of them alone becomes quite expensive. And I have heard people close to me had this exact experience before. So, if you really want to start an e-commerce business selling physical products, remember to choose a business model with little to no inventory, such as dropshipping and print-on-demand. Both dropshipping and print-on-demand don't require you as a seller to manage inventory or process the shipping. You basically act as a middleman to connect your buyers with the suppliers or manufacturers. You pretty much are just in charge of setting up the store, marketing the products, and customer service. That's how dropshipping and print-on-demand have become so popular for the past few years, as you have seen courses and people talking about them everywhere. To be honest, I feel like Amazon FBA is a bit outdated as of now, like it was popular in the era before dropshipping and print-on-demand. That being said, even better, you can start a digital or virtual business that involves no physical products at all. For example, content creation, coaching, agencies, digital products, and software. These businesses all have a zero inventory concept. You don't need to worry about stock management, packaging, or shipping at all. So, I'm telling you, especially if you're a beginner entrepreneur, please choose a business with little or no inventory to start. I promise you that this will save you so much hassle and cost for your business and set your business up for success. The third golden rule is high profit margin. The profit margin is the ratio of profit to revenue, which measures how profitable a business is. So, you need to aim to choose a business that has a higher profit margin. Otherwise, your business will have a hard time making money. You might be thinking, Nomi, this is a very obvious point. But let me tell you, not many people truly understand the importance and essence of this Because if everyone did, everyone would already own a highly profitable business and be a millionaire. But apparently that is not the case. In fact, most businesses out there are not profitable enough to sustain themselves for the long term. Okay, let's start with some examples, shall we? Which business do you think has a higher profit margin? A business selling stickers for $10 per item on average, or a luxury watch brand selling watches for $10K per watch on average? Of course, the luxury watch business does. Now let me ask you another question. Have you ever seen a sticker business started by regular people just like you and me become a multi-million or even billion-dollar business? Pretty rare, right? However, have you seen a digital marketing agency business started by regular people that is worth multiple millions of dollars? There are quite a lot of them, right? That is because these businesses have drastically different underlying profit margins. Both a digital marketing agency and a luxury watch business share some common properties. First, have you realized that they both sell things at a pretty high price? A digital marketing agency can charge a client from $1K to $10K per month, and the prices can even be higher. So oftentimes, selling expensive things can lead to a higher profit margin. While it's true that the cost to produce an expensive item such as a Rolex watch is much higher than the cost to produce a cheap item like stickers, Rolex is still way more profitable than stickers. What do you guys think is the second thing that a digital marketing agency and a luxury watch business have in common? That's right, they both sell to rich people. By rich people here, I mean people with high purchasing power. As you can see, they are specific groups of individuals or even businesses that are able to pay higher prices for your goods or services because they are looking for a very specific type of value or solution you provide. That's why if you want to start a digital marketing agency, for example, don't just run marketing for everyone or for every industry. You better niche down. Even better, you should niche down to a lucrative market, targeting a specific group of people with high buying power, such as dentists, real estate agents, or even enterprises. So you can charge a lot more. You don't easily see people teaching or exposing these underlying truths behind a high profit margin business. And I don't want to sugarcoat anything here. So let me reveal them to you today. I'm telling you, the rule of thumb when choosing a high profit margin business is, first, to sell expensive things that can be priced as high as possible. And second, to sell to rich people by targeting a lucrative group or industry where the money is. This is literally how the average people or even the poor can leverage the rich in order to succeed. You get what I'm saying? Thank you guys so much for watching. I've noticed that I'm becoming very passionate about discussing this topic because I genuinely want you all to succeed in your businesses. I realize this video is getting long, so I'll be making a part 2 in another video where I'll be continue sharing the remaining golden rules for choosing a business that will significantly increase your chance of success. I hope you have learned something valuable and now have more confidence in the type of business you can start. I'm watching you. My robot buddy right here is also watching you. I love you guys so much, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye!